Thank you for joining us today regarding the new mandate imposing licensing requirements on property owners offering long-term rentals in Denver County. I'm Laura Prowse with Crest Insurance Services. Today, we welcome attorney Anthony Lally from White and Steel. Anthony is an active member of the Crest Legal Panel and a contributing author to our risk management blog. Along with Anthony, we have Dave Miller, Regional Vice President of Fidelity National Home Warranty. Dave manages the Crest Advantage Home Warranty Plan, which ties into Crest's E&O insurance. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. And Dave, I'll hand it off to you.
Well, thanks, Laura. Anthony, thank you so much for being with us today. We're going to talk about this new bill that's coming out in your state there, and specifically Denver County. We know that COVID has had obviously a huge impact on the real estate market, but it sounds like this is challenged the property managers a lot in the U.S. and specifically in Colorado too. So what's happening in your state with regards to this new bill and property managers needing to be licensed?
Yeah, so this new bill recently passed by the Denver City Council and signed into law by the Denver mayor, imposes, as we've noted, licensing restrictions. And the general stated purpose of the bill is to try to regulate the quality and affordability of rental properties within Denver County.
Okay, so who does the bill apply to? Is it just to the property managers, and is it just for long-term leases, or is it short-term too?
So this bill specifically deals with long-term leases, which is 30 days or more. The bill applies to the property owner that's offering the rental, the rental property, whether it's an apartment complex, a single-family home. The bill applies to any long-term rental that's residential. So like I said, again, condominium units, apartment complexes, single row house units, multi-unit homes, all of those things.
So why do you think that this bill, this might be a rhetorical question, but why was this bill even needed?
I think the concern that the Denver City Council had was they wanted to impose a more uniform standard on the quality of rental units. The Denver City Council wants to, as much as possible, deter the sort of, for lack of a better word, slumlord type complexes. And so their hope is that this bill will remedy or at least curtail that practice, as well as provide more affordable rental options.
That's great. Now, do you think that, are there other ones out there in other states, or is Colorado kind of spearheading this? Is this new for everybody?
I am not quite certain if this is a new, I know it's certainly new for Colorado. I'm not aware of any other county or city that's imposed a similar requirement. In general, almost every, if not all, states have a base level of habitability requirements. You know, apartments or rental units have to be livable. So every state has that sort of requirement. This bill specifically takes it a step further and tries to really ensure that people offering rental properties meet those requirements.
Okay. Yeah, the bill is Bill 210420, but I guess everybody would know it as what? The landlord licensing bill?
Yeah, that's generally what I've been calling it. It amends the Denver Municipal Code, specifically Chapter 27. It adds a new article, I believe Article 8. But I think it's easiest to call it the landlord licensing bill.
Right.
nobody likes all those numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Looks like a birthday. So when does it become effective?
So there's two different effective dates depending on whether the rental unit or the rental property in question offers a single rental unit, such as a single family home, single condominium unit, or a multi-rental unit like an apartment complex or multi-unit home. So for the properties offering multiple rental units, the effective date is January 1st, 2023. For single property rental units, your homes, your single family homes, etc., the effective date is January 1st, 2024. So a little ways off for both.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it's that far out. Do you think that some of these issues will be fixed by then, or is this something that they're going to have for years to come?
I think this is going to be a staple in this, at least within the city of Denver. My best guess is that the Denver City Council wanted to ensure that people that offer rental units or manage rental properties have sufficient time to comply with these new requirements.
Makes sense. So let's talk about, share with us the licensing requirements for these landlords.
So in general, every rental, any property owner offering rental property must file an application with the city. And in this application, they must also provide verification that the property in question passed a inspection performed by a home inspector. And this inspection looks, to further the purpose of, making sure that the offered rental property is habitable. The inspection looks for things like whether the appliances are functioning, whether there's leaks, does the property have working smoke detectors, those sort of things. So generally, those are the two requirements. I will note, however, that much like any law, there is an exception to this inspection requirement. So under the bill, newly constructed rental property are exempt from the initial inspection if that rental property owner submits a license application within 4 years after the date the property received either its permanent or temporary certificate of occupancy.
Okay, so as a property owner, I own a couple of properties there. I'm going to need to get home inspections on those properties as part of the licensing
Yes.
phase? Okay.
Yep. So at each property you plan on offering as a long-term rental, you'll have to apply for a license and you will have to receive an inspection, give an inspection and provide verification.
Yeah, those inspections can be, $300 to $400. So let's talk about the $1 million question. What's the cost of the licensing going to cost the property manager?
So the cost, excluding the inspections, which, as you know, can vary dramatically depending on who's performing the inspection. The typical cost for applications that are filed after the effective dates, so January 1st, 2023 for multi-unit rental units, and January 1st, 2024 for single rental units. The fee is a $50 application fee and then a yearly license fee, which depends on the number of units, rental units that the property offers. So the lowest it can be is for 1 unit, which would be $50, and the largest value it could be is $500, which is for rental property offering over 250 rental units. Now, in addition to those costs, there is every 4 years, the property owner must renew their application, meaning they'll have to file a new application, get another home inspection, and go through that process again.
Wow.
Um,
Interesting.
yeah, and aside from the fees, the other major cost would be, whether there's additional repairs that the property needs to pass the inspection itself.
Right. Well, I'll be honest, there's a lot more cost than I thought involved in this, and a lot more admin that I thought. The realtor board there, or that whoever regulates this is in for a lot of work, making sure that these people, and checks and balances, that this person has it, this person doesn't. Talk to us about their licenses. Can these be transferred down the road, or?
So unfortunately, the license cannot be transferred, and it's property specific. In addition to the renewal, so any new home buyer who wants to use property as a long-term rental, or provide long-term rental units with their property will need to file for a new license.
Okay. So let's talk about those that skip out on this. What's the penalty for those property managers that don't comply with the new bill?
So there's the potential for fines, and the other potential is if let's say you have a license, but maybe you're not maintaining the property to the standard that's expected, you could face some adverse action with respect to your license, be it getting pulled or suspended, something along those lines. Since the law isn't in effect, so to speak, there is still some gray area about what specifically the city will be looking to do to enforce or penalize people that don't follow these regulations.
Okay. And I want to clarify something. If I'm actually the owner of the properties, but I hire you as because you work for, let's say, a real estate office and you do some property management. If I hire you to do my property management, you're the one that has to comply with the bill, right? Not me as the owner?
Yes. So the property, the property owner, as the owner of the property, is responsible, but they certainly can delegate and ask a property management company to meet these requirements. There's nothing in the bill that precludes that sort of action.
That seems like a lot easier to have somebody who's professional at this and complies with that bill. Probably somebody with a larger firm would have these requirements. That's great. Are there any other requirements of the property managers that we should know about with this bill?
So in line with the bill's purpose to kind of protect tenants, there's also requirements that a landlord provide the lease agreement, the signed lease agreement, and a tenant bill of rights, essentially, for lack of a better term. And in addition to that, anytime a landlord makes a demand for rental payment because rent is past due, they will also need to provide this tenant's protection, this tenant's rights form. The city needs to approve the form. To my knowledge, this form has not been created yet since the law itself hasn't gone into effect. I will note, however, that this requirement, the providing the tenant rights and rights form and providing a copy of the signed lease, that portion of this bill goes into effect sooner, I believe January of 2022. So those requirements will be before the licensing requirements.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you to do something special. Get out your crystal ball, rub the top of it, and tell me, what is this bill going to do? Because the Denver real estate market is already epic right now and crazy. And I'm in California and I know it's crazy there. So what is this bill going to do for that Denver real estate market?
I'm sure the people watching this video will probably have an even better idea than I will. But my best guess, my best stab is that rental costs for rentals in the Denver area will increase as landlords try to offset the costs and expenses that are incurred with complying with this new law. As for the market more generally, I think that will depend in large part whether there's a significant portion of buyers that are just looking for rental property. If there is a significant demand, you could see potentially the areas surrounding the Denver area, like Aurora, Lakewood, Inglewood, potentially seeing those values of property increase as people want rental property, but without having to necessarily deal with all of the regulations that come with rental property, long-term rental property in Denver.
Well, great. I appreciate your time today, Anthony. You're the expert on 210420. We call it the Landlord Licensing Act, the Property Management Licensing Act or bill. But appreciate your time today. If any of the members of Crest E&O Insurance have further questions about this bill, they can certainly call the Risk Management Division at Crest Insurance, and they will put you in contact with Anthony and the firm to answer any specific questions. So, Anthony, thank you so much for your time today. That's a great risk management piece, and we're all in the know. So we appreciate your time.
No problem. Happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
Laura, back to you.
Thank you, Anthony. Great content. I know that's a very valuable piece for a lot of the real estate professionals, whether they're a property manager or they're even representing a buyer. Like you said, it could change potentially the landscape for buyers who are looking for investment properties or to be landlords. So very, very valuable content. Thank you. And thank you all for watching. A copy of this webinar is available on the Crest Insurance homepage if you look under the Claim Prevent blog. And again, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Anthony.